A golden chest, overlaid with gold, with two angelic figures carved on top. The chest glitters in torchlight as ancient priests carry it on poles through the desert. It holds the tablets of stone, the Ten Commandments, gifted by God to Moses. This is the Ark of the Covenant, the holiest object in ancient Israel. According to the Hebrew Bible, the Ark led warriors in battle, parted waters, and lived in Solomon's temple. And then it vanished. One moment it was there, the next gone, hidden, lost, stolen, or destroyed. For thousands of years, the Ark's fate has captivated kings, priests, and treasure seekers. Tonight, we begin tracing its journey from Sinai through Jerusalem to legacies in caves, jungles, and kingdoms far away. The birth of the Ark. Around 1440 BCE, on the slopes of Mount Sinai, the Israelites wandered in the desert. Moses climbed the mountain and received the Ten Commandments etched by the finger of God. To carry these sacred tablets, God commanded, "Build an ark, a chest made of acacia wood, 2.5 cubits long, overlaid with gold, with two cherubim on top, touching wings, bowing toward each other. Inside went the tablets of the law, Aaron's rod that budded, a jar of manna to remind them of God's provision. It became Egypt's greatest relic and more. Power in the ark." Across the years, the ark was more than a container, it was power. At Jericho, priests marched around the walls with the ark. On the seventh lap, the walls fell. It crossed the Jordan River, waters stopping so people could cross on dry land. It accompanied the Israelites in battle until they were defeated and the ark was captured by the Philistines. But in enemy hands, it became a curse, plagues, tumors, and madness. The Philistines returned it quickly. Eventually, it arrived in Jerusalem, carried with awe by King David, then placed in Solomon's temple. The last biblical mention. The final biblical mention of the ark is during King Josiah's reforms, about 622 to 609 BCE, when priests were commanded to return the ark to the temple's Holy of Holies. No mention again. Then, in 586 BCE, Babylonian forces destroyed Jerusalem and the temple. The ark, never mentioned again. What happened? Hidden before destruction. One popular theory. Priests hid the ark before the Babylonian siege. It could be buried under the Temple Mount, nearby caves, including Mount Nebo or Dead Sea Caves. Maccabees, Bible Apocrypha, claims the prophet Jeremiah buried the ark and tabernacle in a cave, and only God would reveal it. Tunnels beneath the Temple Mount fueled speculation, and radar and seismic scans continue, though political complications stop any excavation, so maybe it's still hidden below our feet. Taken by Babylonians. When Babylonians sacked the city, they looted treasures. Could the ark have been taken to Babylon, maybe melted down for its gold or placed in imperial stores? We have no records of it, no inscriptions or statutes, so this idea remains speculative. But for centuries afterward, no trace of the ark existed in Babylonian or Persian records. Taken to Egypt in 925 BCE, Egyptian pharaoh Shishak raided Jerusalem, possibly carrying off temple treasures. Would the ark have been among them? Maybe in Egyptian temples or hidden in desert tombs? Again, no evidence. Just another shadow in the story. Taken to Ethiopia. One of the most famous legends emerges from Ethiopia. The Kebra Nagast, 13th century epic, says King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba had a son, Menelik. Menelik visited Solomon in Jerusalem. On departure, companions stole the ark, taking it to Axum, Ethiopia. There, it resides to this day in the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion, guarded by a single monk who dies before leaving. Scholars doubt the medieval dating, but genetic links between Ethiopian priestly classes and ancient Israel add fascination. Taken to Africa by Lemba people. In Zimbabwe and South Africa, the Lemba people claim the ark came with their ancestors. Their sacred chest, the Ngoma Lungundu, is claimed to be a replica or even the original. Genetic studies show Cohen haplotype markers among the Lemba, suggesting priestly Israelite lineage. But the original ark, either destroyed or passed into silence, the one they hold might be a symbolic heir. Taken to Rome or Europe, legends say Romans looted the ark when they destroyed the Second Temple in 70 CE. Some say it reached Lateran Basilica until destroyed in fire. Knights Templar secreted in Europe, though there's a 1500-year gap between ark and Templars. No evidence, just whispers and legends. CIA remote viewing. In 1988, the US CIA conducted a remote viewing test on the ark. They described a container underground near mosques with Arabic-speaking guards, seraphim carvings, simple locks, and spirits protecting it. But veteran psychic Joe McMoneagle called it nothing, just training fantasy, no verification. Even if eerie, this theory has no ground truth. Reddit wisdom. On Reddit's Ars Bible Conspiracy, users highlight, when Babylon conquered Jerusalem, the Ark vanished. Some believe it moved to Ethiopia, others say hidden beneath Temple Mount. And others add mystical claims, Jesus' blood on the Ark, Japanese Mikoshi, wild but showing how far the story has traveled. So far, we've traced the Ark from Sinai to Jerusalem and into darkness, buried beneath Jerusalem, taken by Babylon or Egypt, hidden in Ethiopia or with the Lemba, stolen into Rome, Europe, described mystically in CIA reports and recounted in internet lore. Which path is true? We have no proof, only belief, tradition, and mystery. We'll continue, examining archaeological searches and modern scans, exploring evidence for Ethiopia, Lemba, Jerusalem, weighing historic and profound, and asking, might the real Ark still await discovery? Has this tale stirred your curiosity? Then don't let the mystery end here. We followed the Golden Ark through centuries, from Mount Sinai to Jerusalem's sacred temple. Then, like a candle snuffed in the night, it disappeared. We explored powerful theories, hidden under the Temple Mount, stolen by Babylon or Egypt, carried to Ethiopia, guarded by African tribes, lost in European vaults, or watched by divine hands, waiting clear. But now let's turn from legend to modern searches, archaeology, and technology. Could we find the Ark? Let's step deeper. The Temple Mount, forbidden ground. The most logical place to search is the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. That's where the Ark was last seen. But here's the problem. The Temple Mount is one of the most sacred and politically sensitive sites on Earth. Jews, Muslims, and Christians all lay claim to it. It's controlled by Islamic authorities, and digging there could trigger violent conflict. Still, over the years, Warren's Shaft and Rabbi Getz's tunnel explored underground caves. Ground-penetrating radar, GPR, in nearby areas found voids, empty chambers. Ron Wyatt, a controversial adventurer, claimed to have found the Ark in a sealed cave beneath the hill, but presented no credible proof. Despite the speculation, no excavation has ever officially been allowed beneath the temple itself. It's sacred and sealed. Is the Ark sleeping in darkness under the temple? Maybe. But until peace allows digging, it stays out of reach. The Ethiopian claim, faith without proof. Let's return to Ethiopia. Inside a small chapel in Aksum, a single monk watches over what he and millions of Ethiopian Orthodox Christians believe is the real Ark of the Covenant. But no one is allowed to see it. No photos, no scholars, no testing. Even respected archaeologists like Edward Ullendorf, who once claimed he saw it in 1941, reported seeing a medieval replica, not an original from 3,000 years ago. And yet the legend runs deep. Ethiopia has Jewish links, Beta Israel, sacred traditions of procession with Ark replicas. Menelik I's story ties Ethiopia directly to Solomon. Fact? Unknown. But for Ethiopian believers, it doesn't matter. Faith makes it real. The Lemba and the Broken Ark. Now we move south to Zimbabwe and South Africa. Here live the Lemba, a Bantu-speaking tribe who follow Old Testament dietary laws, practice circumcision, avoid pork and shellfish, and claim descent from ancient Jewish priests. In the early 2000s, scientists studied Lemba DNA. Many males carry the Cohen modal haplotype, the same markers found in Jewish priestly lines. Even more astonishing, the Lemba tell stories of carrying an ark to their land. In 1940, a wooden chest, the Ngoma Lungundu, was found in a cave. It had rings for poles and was wrapped in mystery. Is it the original ark? Probably not. It's made of wood that dates to the 14th century. But is it a relic descended from the original design, handed down through generations? Maybe. Was it ever real? Skeptics enter now. Let's address the elephant in the room. Some scholars believe the Ark of the Covenant was never a real object. Instead, they say it was a mythological symbol of God's presence, invented centuries later to give Israel's religious identity a dramatic origin, a literary device to inspire national unity. But others push back. The Ark appears in multiple books of the Bible across centuries in different voices and contexts. That's unusual for a literary invention. Also, ancient Egyptian ceremonial chests look very similar to the biblical Ark, with carrying poles and winged figures. So even if it wasn't as magical as legend says, it likely existed as a real physical object. Mystical theories and the holy blood. Here's where things get strange. Some Christian mystics claim the Ark holds not just the commandments, but the very blood of Jesus. How? They believe the ark was buried beneath Golgotha, where Jesus was crucified. His blood, during the crucifixion, trickled down through the rock into the ark below. This fulfilled the law, spiritually and literally. This theory comes from controversial claims by Ron Wyatt and others, but there's no archaeological support, just a deeply symbolic message. Still, in the world of the Ark, stories carry power. Pop culture and the Ark. The Ark isn't just a religious object, it's a pop culture icon. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones battles Nazis to recover the chest. At the end, it melts faces when opened, mirroring biblical accounts where people die just for touching it. The film may be fiction, but it introduced millions to a real mystery and sparked renewed interest in the search. Even now, TV shows, documentaries, and YouTube channels chase clues, hoping for a breakthrough. If the Ark were found, let's pause and imagine. What if, tomorrow, the Ark was discovered in a cave? Proven real? The world would change. For Jews, the return of the Ark could signal the Messianic age. For Christians, proof of Old Testament events would shake theology. For archaeologists, it would be the greatest find in human history. For governments, wars could erupt over who owns it. For believers, it could be sacred beyond measure. But maybe that's why it hasn't been found. Maybe it's waiting for a time when humanity is ready, still missing, or forever protected. Today, no one knows where the Ark of the Covenant is. No scholar, no priest, no government. It could be hidden beneath Jerusalem, protected in Ethiopia, buried in the sands of Egypt, disintegrated and gone forever, or preserved by divine power unseen. But its story continues to inspire, to call, to pull at the imagination. A simple golden chest with the power to part seas and topple empires. Gone, but never forgotten. If this journey stirred your curiosity, subscribe to Shadows Untouched. Like this video if you believe in ancient. Hit the bell so you don't miss what's next. Comment below. Do you think the Ark is real? And if so, where is it now? There are some stories that will never die. And in the silence of a hidden cave, perhaps the Ark still waits.